Emotions seem to be part of the human experience from day one. As newborns, we show evidence of interest, surprise, distress, and contentment. By 4 months of age, we can express anger. And by 6 months, fear and shyness become part of our emotional repertoire. By adulthood, we experience a full range of emotions, and there are fewer places one is more likely to encounter them than at a youth soccer game. '89 Extreme is a boys under 11 team from Phoenix, Arizona, playing in their 3rd tournament.
My team, it's a fairly new team. I think that the core of the team was put together this year, and they've been working together for probably 6 months now. They're a real good group of kids. They're very willing to learn. They're real willing to work hard and practice, and I think they're pretty committed to become good soccer players.
With every group of young soccer players comes a group of parents with varying degrees of investment.
You see the pacers, people that pace, and people just walk off into the corner because they know they're about to get in trouble. And you see the parents that just sit there and just chat the whole game. And, oh, what's the score? What's the score? And then, this is really everything in between.
According to emotion researchers, we seem to have 6 basic emotions: fear, anger, happiness, sadness, disgust, and surprise seem to be common to all humans, regardless of culture or ethnic group. However, we rarely feel just one emotion at a time. Most often we experience blends and mixtures of emotions that are sometimes confusing. But why do we feel emotions at all? What good do they do us?
Emotions reflect the attempt of the individual to deal with issues in the world, typically dealing with problems in the world.
For example, anger is elicited when a person's goal is obstructed and some sort of action is required in order to keep that goal or reinstate that goal. And sometimes that action is attack. Fear is elicited when there's a perception that a goal is likely to fail in the future and preventative action is required, such as running away. Disgust keeps us from ingesting food that's going to harm us. Happiness captivates people. A smile captivates people, brings them closer, encourages them to continue doing the beneficial thing that they've been doing. So emotions really help in survival in all of those different ways.
Many of the emotions we feel have no seeming connection with survival. Our lives do not depend on a soccer ball hitting the goal, although it may be hard to convince some fans of that.
Help him! Yes! Oh!
Emotions, then, play a different role.
The human is a social animal, and what is it that bonds us together? What is it that bonds parent with child and child with friend and one group with another? It's emotion. It's sharing emotions with each other, and it's attempting to negotiate through conflict.
All emotions are biological events. Even when our physical survival is not at risk, our bodies respond as though it were.
I have a knot in my stomach from a little frustration that they're not scoring more or preventing the other team from scoring.
Well, I kind of feel my face getting tense, and then just kind of a pit in my stomach. Hands get sweaty, maybe.
I feel my heart going, thud, 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 thud. When you're, like, sad, you don't have as much energy in you. And then when you're excited, you're, like, all over the place, laughing your heart out.
You're always feeling it in the pit of your stomach. I mean, if you have any, if you have a son or a daughter that's playing in athletics, I mean, everything's in the stomach.
The work on physiology and emotion has shifted over the last few decades. When I first became a research psychologist and started working on the emotions, the emphasis physiologically was on the autonomic nervous system, heart rate, blood pressure, skin temperature and skin sweating. And the attempt was made to try to differentiate the emotions using those kinds of physiological indicators. That attempt yielded mixed results, I think it's fair to say. What we've seen in the late 90s and the early part of this new millennium is a shift, I think, from the autonomic nervous system to the central nervous system. Work really on the brain and on different parts of the brain that seem involved in different kinds of emotional experiences.
The brain shows major signs of arousal and major ways of patterning depending upon the intensity of the emotion that's being registered. The more intense the emotion, the faster the brain waves are. The quality of the emotion is also represented with left frontal brain regions being active principally in states of positive emotion, and right regions principally in times of negative emotion.
It's possible to have a stroke, a massive injury in the frontal lobe on the left side, and as the individual is repaired, recovers from the stroke, it's almost always noticed that this individual has a rather sour, cynical, depressed look on life. On the other hand, if he or she had had the stroke on the right side and began to recover, they more often turn out to be like the little character on the cover of a Mad magazine. You know what? Me worry? What's to worry about? The stroke was nothing. So there's a very different take that these two frontal lobe parts show on the world around them.
Unlike stroke victims, however, most people process a full range of both negative and positive emotions.
It's interesting to see how emotions can change so quickly, because you're frustrated. There were some bad calls, and that's always a continuing frustration in a soccer game. And so you're watching it, you're going, come on, you're really frustrated. And the next thing you know, you get a goal, and you're like, you're all happy, and it's like a whole new life.